Hello and welcome to the GA Today, hashtag B4, breaking barriers while building bridges. We are excited today to come to you with this episode on SSC Live TV to talk about the General Association and the wonderful and marvelous strides that she has made to make a huge difference in the lives of our constituencies and pastors and fellow clergymen all across the Commonwealth of Kentucky. I'm really excited that our moderator, Dr. Bernard Crayton, has led us into an era that has been elusive for people of color for a long time, and that is access and opportunity to finances. So we're thanking God today for the leadership, for the brilliance, for our moderator understanding what is really needed for us to be successful, and not only just as individuals, but his heart and mind for the association at large, every person in the Commonwealth that is a person of color or a person, period, that has been disenfranchised and that has been left out and left back, left behind, those that seemingly society has put down and would not give an opportunity, now has that opportunity to not only survive, but to thrive. Yes. And because of the organizing, because of the love for God and God's people, we now have, as the General Association, our own financial institution named OROWA Financial. And we're delighted to have our president of OROWA Financial with us today, along with our esteemed moderator and Elder Garry Spots, our editor of our American Baptist newspaper. I want to start, Brother Moderator, with asking you, as this opportunity became available, and I saw your excitement about coming together and providing for the churches, for the pastors to be empowered to do things financially in their communities, not only in their communities, but with their constituencies. Tell me how you felt about this opportunity as God began to open this door, and you began, as the moderator and leader, walk through this door for the General Association.
Well, you know, it was really exciting, and this partnership has really been a game changer. First of all, I want to thank the president, the board, Park Community Credit Union for thinking outside of the box, for understanding that it's about helping people, and going a step further about helping people of color. And so I am just so glad that they were able to think out of the box, and we came together, and OROWA was born. And the president is going to speak here in a little bit. But one of the things that I'm so excited about, as you just mentioned, Dr. Smyzer, is the fact that for so long, African-American people have been shut out from being able to just get maybe normal financial products, financial things that we need just for everyday life. And it bothered me so much when I used to hear about our people going to these pay cash check places where you cash the checks and you pay this large amount of interest, and they're getting ripped off. And they felt that's the only thing that they had to be able to get money if they needed it. And so I just was praying that we would be able to have some type of vehicle where we could help all people so they wouldn't have to fall to these schemes of these paycheck centers. I think it's called
payday lenders.
Payday lenders. Thank you. Payday lenders. We would have to fall for them. And then, sometimes when you struggle and you're just trying to make it day by day, which a lot of people are, you may not have the very best credit. You may not have the very best in resources. And so you need a little help. And, but we live at a time where we don't get a lot of help anymore. As a matter of fact, we get more doors closed in our face than open. And so I am so excited about this partnership. I am excited about OROWA. We're going to hear some about that. I'm excited about it because it helps our churches and the members of our churches, and it helps our community. One of the things, Dr. Smyzer, I used to hear from our pastors in the General Association is that, they were asking me, they support, and they were saying, Brother Moderator, what other things can the association do for us? And to be able to say now, through the work of all of you all, that and so many more, that we have now our own financial institution, our own credit union, OROWA, that can help you now if you want to put an addition onto your church. That can help you now if your members want to buy a car or buy a home or just get a checking account. You know what I'm saying? And so when we shared that with our constituents in the association, it was just like, wow, that was a big deal. And I am so excited as we go down this road together. I know it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful relationship, and we're going to be able to help a lot of people as we go forward. So I'm just excited about it. I really am, making a difference.
And I think before we hear from the president, Elder Spots, I want to kind of address the area when the moderator was approached with this opportunity from the president and the executive vice president of Park Community Credit Union. The moderator challenged you, myself, and Dr. Marvin King, First Baptist Winchester pastor, to sit down with the people at Park and to construct an agreement that would be a win-win, a win for Park and a win for the General Association, her churches and her constituencies. You were very vital in that constructing of that. As a matter of fact, you actually was the one that kind of helped us to craft the name OROWA Financial. Tell us just a little bit about your thoughts as we spent countless hours at the table working out all of the different nuances that allowed this birth to take place. And I would say, there were a couple of birth pains in there, but we worked through that, and it came out as a beautiful, beautiful relationship. Talk a little bit about that, just going through that process.
Yeah, it was an interesting experience, to say the least. When I was brought into this, because actually there were some things already in motion when I was invited into this process because of my role with the General Association. And I have to admit, I came with some measured skepticism about what this means. Who are these folk on the other side of the table? Because, of course, President Smith was the only black guy on the other side of the table. And so, I came with some measured skepticism about really what is this all about. But what we learned over time as we worked together and collaborated and put this together is that this was a genuine collaboration. We bring a large constituency of people who are underserved across the state. Not only the people who are members of our church, which is predominantly African American, but also people who are not African American who reside in the communities in which
Right.
we serve. So we're not just an African American or Black focused organization. That's our primary goal, is to lift that community. But we also understand that if we lift our churches and the people in our churches, we'll lift the communities in which they reside as well.
Right.
So the whole idea behind OROWA, which is a combination of two words, it's a phrase from an African language in Yoruba, and it means our wealth.
Mm-hmm.
And so the whole idea is for the first time ever that I'm aware of, because I do remember the various banking iterations through the years that did not survive here in Louisville. But for the first time, you paired a real powerhouse financial organization, institution, Park Community, with a powerhouse organization that could make something explosive happen. And that explosive thing is OROWA Financial. And so we really are excited about what this means, not only for the constituents of the General Association, our pastors and churches, the members, and the communities in which they sit, both those who are African American and those who are underrepresented, underserved by financial institutions. This is a big deal, as the moderator said. But I'm also excited about what that means for the General Association as an organization who has now the potential to reach out into our communities and reach out into our churches and lift them up through a whole range of other offerings that this collaboration with Park and the birth of OROWA now will empower the General Association to do. So it's awesome. It really is our wealth at work for us.
And we're gonna get to that just a little bit later. We want to talk about how the General Association is going to not only benefit, but how the General Association is going to leverage what it has in this partnership to become a huge blessing to our churches all across the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Now, as we say in the Black Baptist Church, I want to present to some and introduce to others the president of OROWA Financial, our dear friend, our brother, Reverend Raymond Smith. Amen. Pastor Raymond Smith. Many of us, like you, are duly aligned in our vocation, if you will. You pastor and you serve in another area that is crucial and critical to the well-being of individuals, to the well-being of our communities. And so we are excited, Pastor Smith, for you and for this wonderful opportunity that you've been given by God to lead something that is unprecedented in these United States. And that is this partnership, and that is OROWA Financial. If you don't mind, Brother President, if you would just share just a little bit about how you feel about the partnership, number one. But I want to make sure that everyone knows the benefit, the things that we are offering as OROWA Financial. We don't have just a nickel or a dime. You know, we have access to $1.4 billion. And I want you to kind of mention some of what we're doing that is specific to the constituency at the General Association and or the community where our churches serve.
Thank you, Dr. Smyzer. I say what a tremendous blessing it is. And to God be the glory.
Amen. Great
things he has done. And so I give him all praise, glory, and honor. And what a blessed privilege it is to work with God's people. It's nothing like that. And so I'm very thankful that for the formation of OROWA. I'm very blessed the fact, and I certainly appreciate the fact that Park Community Credit Union saw the light, as well as when the communication was going on, the discussion took place to create a division, right? And Moderator Crayton, you mentioned the fact that too many times people are in boxes, silos.
Right.
And one of the things in some of the meetings that we talked about, there is no silo. What is it that we could do to create a difference? And one of the things that was said early on, our main focus is to create access to opportunity and access to capital, to be able to assist individuals to get away from those absorbent rates that they're paying right now. One of the things that I say about OROWA, everybody that comes to OROWA is going to get help.
Wow.
Everybody that comes to OROWA may not get a check today, but we don't say no. Sometimes we have to say not now.
Not now.
But if we say not now, we're going to put you in a program that when you finish steps 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3, then we're going to put together what you're looking to do. And so it's just exciting, the fact that truly being able to help somebody. You know, part of my daily prayer is that the Lord allow me to be an instrument, to be used by him to help someone along life's way, that my living shall not be in vain. Well, in OROWA, we get to help folk every day. and so I have shouting moments almost every day of some of the things that we get a chance to do. If I can give you one example, we talked a few minutes ago about the General Association. We just got through having the conference here. And as we did that, we introduced OROWA. You know, it was talked about.
Sure.
And so we had our own breakout room that you all provided. One of the blessings is something that happened on one evening when a gentleman came in from part of the state, part of the General Association, came in and talked about a mortgage. And as we were talking, I found out that he literally was paying on a first mortgage an interest rate of 12%.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
And he said, can we, and I said, well, let's sit down and we continue to talk and find out a little more information. And so as they were renewing his mortgage, they just continued to keep the rate where it was. Don't know who it was, don't care who it was.
Right.
But I will simply say this. In that session, we were able to take him from the 12% interest rate to a 2.75%
Wow. That's awesome.
interest rate on site. And it was such a blessing that throughout the rest of the conference, every time he saw me, his comment was, is this for real?
Wow.
Is this for real? And I said, yes, sir. We're going to do this for you at that rate. So the ability of being able to mainstream individuals into the real credit arena is such a blessing. And we do that on a regular day in and day out basis. One of the things that I say, nothing is too minute, nothing is too great that we can assist you with. So if you need help with the $250 loan, we can help you with that. If you want the $5 million loan, we can help you with that, because you've already said we're over a $1.1 billion company and we're able to do that. So it is a blessing to be able to be here today and to be a part of the General Association of Baptists in Kentucky.
Well, now, as the president of OROWA, I mean, you just said something phenomenal.
Yes.
With that last story that you just had. And it's interesting to me, and I think it's important to the General Association that our pastors who hopefully will see this and will hear this,
Right.
will understand the importance of us collaborating together, coming together in unity and pooling our resources, because now through the General Association and OROWA Financial, we have resources unheard of.
That's right.
In many circles that we have to deal with. Now, as you know, Brother President, I think I said this to you a few days ago. We are now in a position that we have the right complexion for the right connection. Because heretofore, we didn't have the right complexion for the financial connection of a lot of the financial institutions, not only in our city, but across our state. They were refusing to deal with churches and refusing to deal with church folk on a large scale. But now we have the right complexion for the right connection when it comes to finances for our people and our churches. Speak, if you would, just a little bit about the average. I know you have a couple of products that, regardless of where a person is, if they can get themselves to a certain level, OROWA Financial is doing things that no other financial institution is doing.
That's correct.
Speak a little of that, especially on the home mortgage, because we know home ownership is the beginning of wealth.
That's right.
And how you can maybe move in a direction that would allow them to make some move that would be beneficial to their betterment.
Well, you know, one of the things, and you're absolutely right, one of the things that we love being able to do is create and assist with home ownership, right? The creation of wealth. Access to capital, access to opportunity. And so when it talks about that, one of the products that we have for the person that's looking to buy the home for the first time is what we call a first step mortgage. It's their first step into getting into the mortgage arena. So what we will do there is that we will lend up to 100% of the financed piece, the amount financed. So we have a dollar limit that we'll lend 100% of that We'll assist with $2,000 of the closing costs. There is no PMI on the 100%.
Explain PMI for those who may not know what that is.
Typically, if you don't have if the value of the home and what you're looking to borrow is greater than 80%, you pay a private mortgage insurance. And that's expensive. And it's no benefit to you. It benefits in the event you can't pay that it gets covered. So it's no benefit to you, and it's extremely expensive. So if that loan to value is greater than 80%, typically you have to pay PMI, private mortgage insurance.
That's right.
What we're doing is 100% of the financing with no PMI.
Wow.
We will assist you with $2,000 of your closing costs, and you can have a credit score of 585.
Wow.
Now, when you're talking about that, when you're talking about the 585, a credit score of 585, and one of the things that I'm thankful to say is there are those that have come in that aren't quite at 585. We put them on the program, they finish steps 1, 2, they get up to that, and we're able to assist them. Sometimes it's not even a 585, but we can actually justify and show why it's not there, and they've taken care of things, and we're still able to help them. Wow. So that's one of the features that we love doing with the mortgage. Another is the first-time home buyer. In this economy, there used to be a dollar figure for the first-time home buyer, but many times the program we had really didn't match up with what was out there as far as homes for sale. So we recently have increased our first-time home buyers program to $350,000 for a first-time home buyer.
My goodness.
Now, again, 100%, no PMI.
Okay, then hold on. Let me make that. Let me as my math teacher would say, break this down into the most common denominator. Yeah. So you're saying if it's a first-time home buyer,
yes, sir,
that OROWA Financial will finance up to
yes, sir,
$350,000, and y'all will finance 100% of that.
That's correct.
And on top of that, give $2,000 towards the closing costs?
Yes, sir. We're trying to create this
My
wealth
God.
creation that you're talking about, right? Now, one of the things that we have to do, and we never want to put a person in place to fail.
Right.
And so one of the things that we always do is to do numbers to create the right ratio.
Right.
And this is where I always say that I don't want anyone walking away from OROWA or coming out thinking there's no hope for them. There's hope for the hopeless is what I like to say all the time. And so when people come in, you may be right now your debt ratio. And let me say the debt ratio is what you have coming in versus what you have going out.
Right.
And there's a figure that we use that's no greater than 40% because you want to make sure that you have the ability of making the payment.
Right.
You've got insurance and and taxes now, and you've got to be able to repair. So you want to keep your ratio in line because we never want to put anybody in position to fail.
Right.
Now, one of the things that I say is that if your ratio is higher than that, don't give up. Because what we will do is sit down with you in OROWA to help you go from, if your debt ratio is 65%, we'll look to take you down there to get to where you need to be. And sometimes that's consolidating debt, restructuring some debt so that you can get the ratio down so that then your cash outlay will put you in a position to be able to buy the home. So we do all of that.
So in other words, you're saying the debt to income
Yes, sir.
ratio, that's what you're talking about. And so you're saying the number that OROWA has is that 40%, your debt to income ratio number 40%.
That's correct. It shouldn't be higher than
It shouldn't be higher than that because in 2008, one of the big reasons for the bubble bursting and the economy tanking was because there were mortgage companies putting people in houses that debt to ratio never came into play and they couldn't afford them in the first place. So they were deceiving people to get them in. Yeah. And what you're saying is OROWA Financial is not in that game.
No.
They're in the game to care about the people and to make sure that if we have this agreement, then that person is in a position to fulfill their end as OROWA Financial fulfills theirs.
That's exactly right. It's people. Our motto is people helping people. It's people, not profit. You take care of the people, you become profitable later, right?
Amen.
And so we want to make sure that we're taking care of the people. So we do that individually, but we also are absolutely love financing to the church, right? That we're helping with renovations, we're helping with expansion, helping with the different things that are happening within the church. And so now, just where we talked about a debt ratio for an individual, the churches have a debt service capacity ratio. And so we help with that as well. And so that number doesn't need to be any greater than 1.20 for the churches when they look to come in. And one of the things that I say all the time that I love to do, Brother Moderator, is that I love being able to meet with the pastors, with the finance team to help them put that together. So it's not something they have to have.
You know, if I could say something,
Go
I
ahead,
think that's so important, Brother Smith, because a lot of times everything that you're talking about is helping. Everything that you're helping a person try to reach their goals. So many times, especially for African Americans, we just get told no. And the door is closed and we give up. But what I love about what you're saying is that we may not be able to do it now, but let's put you in this program to help you reach your goals. And that's so important. So I don't walk away just feeling like, you know, what's the use? I failed at this. I'll never own a home. I'll never be able to buy a car. You're gonna say, look, let's get these things in order, and then you'll be able to get that home, or you'll be able to get that car. You go the next step. A lot of times it doesn't happen. The other thing I love what you just said too is that even with our churches, sometimes, especially our churches that are in a lot of our churches in rural communities, they may not have the personnel.
That's right.
To be able to put together a profit and loss statement or a balance sheet or all those type of things. And so for you to say, excuse me, that, hey, we need these documents. Sometimes for some pastors, I know it's been for me in the times gone by, you go, oh my gosh, where do I start to get this? Do I have to hire a CPA? Do I have to get an accountant? Do I have to pay a lot of money? You're going to help us. If we bring our information to the table, you can help us to put those documents together, if I understand you correctly, and to be able to then look at it intelligently and to be able to see where we are. Because you'd be surprised, there are a lot of churches, they have the resource, the money, right. They just need to put it on paper so you can see it.
That's correct.
You know what I'm saying?
That's correct. And we certainly do that.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, just did that this past weekend. And so
wow.
One of the things that I love doing, and the pastor called and said, do you do anything on Saturday? I said, what time you want me to be there on Saturday?
Wow.
And so being able to go down and sit down with the finance team and actually help put together those pieces. Because you're right, the information is there.
Yeah.
It's now just putting it in the format that we need to
Amen.
be able to see it, to
Amen.
be able to make a sound decision. So the information is there. It's just a matter of taking the time, right? And so I'm thankful that it's a matter of just really understanding the faith-based, the church, the body of Christ.
Amen.
I like to tease my colleagues all the time, and I say, well, why don't you do this for me? When they say, well, Raymond, we don't have this. I said, why don't you do this for me? Why don't you outline the sermon and give me 3 points and the close? I don't know how to do that. I said, well.
Exactly. Very good point.
So we tease like that sometimes,
right.
And I have a good time with it.
Let me interject something.
Okay, real quick, and I want you to jump in, but I want us, before our time runs out, because we're running short on time, this has been absolutely great. I want to do two things very quickly, Elder. And that is how you can go and open up an account. We need you to open up an account at OROWA. That's what we need you to do. Whether start that relationship, checking account, savings account, money market, whatever, loan, mortgage. But that's how we're going to do that. I guess we're going to have to come back and talk about the overrides that will go to the General Association and how the General Association, through the State Mission Board, is going to also now have finances to help our churches. So go ahead.
I was going to actually ask, because we know homeownership is the doorway to wealth building.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Well, I know as a business owner of almost 30 years that the challenge many of us have faced is we couldn't get financing for our business. And I can go get a $30,000 car loan, but they won't give me $30,000 to start a business. So talk about that, because business ownership is key. I know we don't have money.
And we got about 35 seconds for you to cover that.
All right, absolutely. We do everything from the smallest of business to the largest of business. One of the programs that we have to help those even start a startup, you can have a thought, an idea, and want to start a business. And what we would do is put together what we call a micro commercial loan. A micro commercial loan gets you started. It helps you with inventory, helps you with equipment that allows you to borrow up to $10,000, set it up over a 3-year period of time, interest rate at 3.99%. But when you pay the loan back as agreed, we refund you 100% of your interest-free loan. And people have gone from that to get guidance lines of credit, to get revolving lines of credit, because we want to assist you from the business point as well. And those things I just simply love doing.
That's key.
Brothers, let me see if I cannot engage you, Elder Spots and Moderator Crayton and President Smith. If you all would come back, and maybe our next episode, we need to talk about these products. We need to talk about the importance of all of our constituencies throughout the Commonwealth that is affiliated with the General Association, our pastors, our churches, all becoming a member of OROWA Financial, so that we can collectively together do some great things in this state. Let me take this moment to say thank you very much, Brother President, for joining us in our TV show. Thank you, Brother Moderator. Thank you, Elder Spots, for your time coming. And I think that we just need to put together another segment that we can come and talk. And maybe you've hired Andrew Pleasant, a wonderful young man, and he's doing a marvelous job, I understand. Maybe he can come back and be a part with us and talk about some of the things that you're doing. Our time is out. Thank you so much for joining us here on the GA Today, #B4, Breaking Barriers while Building Bridges. We'll see you in the next episode.